Let's do one more with sharps, and then we'll try a flat key signature. Say I want to build the key signature for B major. What is a half step below B? A sharp. So I know A sharp is going to be my last sharp. Now I just think, funny clowns get drunk at. And at starts with A, so I stop there. Okay, let's try some with flats now. So remember, when we were building, or rather identifying our flat keys, we looked at the second to last flat to identify what key we were in. So if I want to build the key signature, I'm going to go one flat farther in the order of flats than the key. Let me show you what I mean. Let's say I want the key signature for B flat major. Now, B flat is the first flat in the order of flats, but I'm going to go one past that, B, E, to give me my key signature for B flat, because I remember that I always look at the second to last flat to identify the flat keys. Let's do another one. Let's say I want the key signature for D flat. Now I'm going to go through the order of flats to D flat and then keep going one more flat. So I would go B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, and G flat. Remember we had bead, G, C, F. Let's do one more with flats. Let's say I want the key signature for A flat. I'm going to go B, E, A, and then one more D flat, and there's my key signature for A flat major. If you actually watched all this video about building key signatures, then I congratulate you, because this will be very useful for you as you learn about intervals and triads. And in fact, you could have even used this information to build scales if you wanted, right? If you memorized the key signature, then you would know what notes were in that scale. Finally, the last thing I want to cover about key signatures will have to do with minor keys. The last thing you need to know about key signatures is that music, of course, isn't always in a major key. Sometimes it's in a minor key. So how do you suppose you can tell by looking at a piece of music what key it's in? And do minor keys have their own key signatures? Well, the answer to this is no, they don't have their own key signatures. Remember, scales, each major scale shares the same notes with a minor scale. For example, C major and A minor. Remember, both C major and A minor had no sharps and no flats. So the key signature for both would be a blank key signature with no sharps and no flats. For any other major key, there's also a minor key that shares the same notes in it. So we learned that this was the key signature for G major, and it is. But it's also the key signature for a minor key. There are two ways to figure out which key that is, although they're basically the same. One would be to go up the G major scale to the sixth note, G, A, B, C, D, E. Remember when you were doing your minor scales by using the major scale pattern, that was how you did it. So E minor would be the relative minor. Basically, I can just count letters, G, A, B, C, D, E, and then I can look at the key signature and see that there's no sharp on the E, so it's just E minor. Here, we know this is the key signature for what major key? E. So if I go from the letter E, E, F, G, A, B, C, then I can look at my key signature and see that there is a sharp on the C. This is C sharp minor. it's the same with flat keys. So again, what major key would this be? A flat major, because A flat was the second to last flat. Now if I want to figure out what minor key it would be, I go A flat, A, B, C, D, E, F. And then I look at my key signature, and here's an F, no sharp flat there, no flat there. Okay, it's just F minor. There's no flat on F. So, given that any piece of music with a key signature could be a major key or a minor key, how do you tell when you look at the music which key it's in? There are 3 things to look for, and I will tell them to you in order of importance. Really, you need to look at all 3 because it's a combination of the 3 that will give you the correct answer. One place to look is the last note of the music. In particular, if the music is for piano or has multiple instruments, you want to look at the lowest last note. So, the last bass note in the music. And that's frequently the key of the music. Some people like to look at the first note, but actually a lot of music does not start on the key note or tonic. But most music ends on that note. However, just to be sure, another thing to look for is a lot of raised notes. Because remember, when you learned about minor scales, I told you that most music that's in a minor key is in a combination of melodic minor and harmonic minor with maybe even some natural minor. If you have sections that are in the melodic or harmonic minor, we don't put those raised 6th or 7th notes in the key signature. We actually write the accidentals in next to the notes. So for example, if I saw this key signature here, and then within the music I saw a lot of E naturals, then I would know it was F minor, because E would be the raised 7th note of my scale in F minor. So there, again, 3 things you look at. Number 1 would be the last note. Number 2 would be looking for raised notes in the music, sharps or natural signs if the key signature has flats. And then number 3 would be looking at the first note. Of course there are other elements too, like chords and things, but we haven't learned about those yet. However, you're pretty well off if you just look at the last note and look for raised notes within the music itself.